Hey guys, what's going on? Screw that. Idiots. Hold on, guys. These guys are idiots on this thing. Oh. Hold on a second.
How much weed can I actually smoke and still play a teenage superstar on the Disney Channel? and then like
What's the answer to that question?
More than you would fucking think. I remember one time when, and I don't smoke anymore, and I'm sober.
How long have you been sober
But
for?
I've been sober since pretty much the vocal surgery kind of did it for me, because I just learned so much about the effects, which again you're just not taught. How much weed can I actually smoke and still play a teenage superstar on the Disney Channel? and then like
What's the answer to that question?
More than you would fucking think. I remember one time when...
Oh, hell yeah. Hold on, guys.
Scientists from the US and UK teaming up to create what is being called the world's first synthetic human embryos made without eggs or sperm. Some are calling it a scientific breakthrough. Others say it raises serious ethical and legal questions.
Yeah, it's a terrifying prospect, and when you read about it, it feels a little bit Black Mirror-ish in a way.
Black Mirror is all about, shining a light on, kind of like the darkest parts.
Everything that the underbelly.
The underbelly, yeah.
Oh, that's, yes.
Yes, great word.
I am part of the underbelly.
You are?
We were actually just talking about artificial intelligence earlier in the show, and talk of AI is a major part of the episode.
Huge.
Could you see that plot perhaps playing out in real life?
I think it is playing out in real life, which is, it's a spooky thing.
Here's what's going on here. They took one single cell, embryonic stem cell, one single cell, and they're manipulating it to see what the placenta would look like, what the yolk sac would look like. They're not creating actual embryos that you could do something with. There's no precursor of a brain or a heart, and they're not planning on using it for anything other than testing why someone miscarries or what are genetic abnormalities and can you predict them. But I have a question. I would have a question for the researcher here, same as I have a question about gain-of-function research. Could you do this with computers? Could you do this with artificial intelligence? Could you predict this without using this actual cell and manipulating it?
As The Guardian notes, this discovery also falls beyond the realm of regulation in the UK and in most countries, so it does raise a lot of ethical issues. The embryos don't have a beating heart or any brain matter, but they have enough matter to form a placenta, an egg yolk, and embryo. So, as I said, raising major ethical and legal questions.
It's caught a lot of people's attention and making a lot of headlines.
And last night, he made his episode debut in season 6 of the suspenseful drama series Black Mirror. And as another twisted season unfolds, it becomes clear that nothing is truly ever as it seems. But wait, there's more.
There always is.
Ready? Yeah. He's also starring the upcoming sci-fi action thriller The Creator, which is set to hit theaters a little bit later this year.
The artificial intelligence created to protect us detonated a nuclear warhead in Los Angeles. As long as AI is a threat, we will never stop hunting them.
Nothing. Oh, that's nice and light and bright.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Not topical at all.
No talk of chat, GPT, or AI here.
Aliens have been around since the dawn of time.
A group.
There you are.
I can't wait for September, though. Wake me up when September comes.
Let you guys know what I'm most excited about coming up before we finish the year of 2023. There's a lot of games on this list. Let me know what your favorite games that are going to be coming out towards the end of this year are, and away we go.
Oh, no, wait, too.
Alright, so the first game on the list that I'm really looking forward to is Alan Wake 2. So we've all played Alan Wake, the original game. They even had the remastered version. Great.
Okay, I'm not trying to do that.
How much we can actually...
12-second delay. I don't have a cool intro like you. I've been waiting for Luke to make me one of those. When I grow up, I'll have one of those.
It's not hard.
There we are. Look at us.
Yeah, it's not hard.
All right, I'll turn that down. Look at us. I look all cool with the books behind me, and well, you look like you're hovered over the microphone, like you're ready to. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Larry King.
Microphone, like you're ready to.
That's like this.
Yeah, you gotta. You.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
I look all cool. I look all cool with the books behind me, and
Hold on.
well, you look like you're hovered over the microphone, like you're ready to.
That's like this.
Yeah, you gotta. You.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Larry King. I've smoked way too many cigarettes in my life. I'm the Marlboro Man.
Anyway, okay, all right. So I'm.
That's hilarious.
This is interesting. Okay, so everybody's getting on here, so that's good. We have a normal crew of about anywhere from 50 to 75 people, sometimes 100. It just depends if I'm talking about something weird. But since I have you on here, it's going to be weird for sure. So anyway, say hi to everybody, Pastor.
How's it going? It's Pastor Mike Hoggard of the Church Festus, Missouri. I'm a lot better at this than Jason Cooley is.
Amen. I agree with him. He's way more professionally, but he is older than me. He's had a lot of years to do this. So he's a lot older than me.
Never been afraid of a camera. Never been as shy of a camera. Never. Yeah. So it's a joke that I have when people come to our church and they say, "Oh, Pastor Mike, can we take your picture?" And I go, "I'm really camera shy." And they go, "I'm sorry. They'll see me clearly." They go, "You were kidding, weren't you?" Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's not shy. We know that for sure. This just in, the Tokyo Olympics postponed. Oh, that's too bad for them. I don't know what that is. That might be a little light, or maybe it's for ozone for you to breathe in. I don't know what that is.
That's coronavirus making pause the Olympics.
Yep, that's what it
And
is.
my wife sent me a text. Said the Surgeon General is coming out today saying that this week is going to be far worse because nobody's taking this seriously, and I believe that. Everybody thinks I'm not going to get it. I'm immune, or I'm not touching anybody, and from what I hear, it spreads by the virus can stay alive on a surface like 3 or 4 hours. So somebody touches something, like you go to the gas station. Somebody's got the virus on their hand. They pick up the gas pump. You come by 2 hours later, pick up the gas pump. You are now.
I mean, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do?
It's a virus. That's what viruses do. They're designed. It's a capsule of DNA or RNA, and that capsule is just like what's in leaven. Leaven or yeast is a little capsule that has, this little bacteria in it, and it's the same way with the virus. It's a little capsule. It has a little packet of DNA or RNA, which is single strand, and once that gets, and it stays in the air, I think an hour. So people going through Walmart, coughing, gagging. We went to, me and my son, Caleb, went to KFC before we came here, and we had to walk up to the drive-thru because the van was too tall for it. We had one of those Ford Transit. And we're in there looking in the window. One of the workers packing the food in the boxes going, like that, and I'm just going,
Oh, no.
goodness.
It's over.
Yeah. So, people don't. If the health officials tell you take it seriously, then trust that. What is it going to hurt?
Right.
What is it going to hurt to not go to the mall? Of course, the malls are closed. If you absolutely need something, go get it, go back home. They're telling everybody to stay indoors. So my wife is at home. My daughters that work for me, I told them, do what you can on a computer at home. And our office, I think my secretary is there for a little while today because it's the day after Sunday. So
Right, minimal.
She's making the deposits, doing a minimal thing. Nobody else is there. She's going to do her job. She's probably back home by now. And, you know, what has to be done, do it, but keep it down to a minimum. And I like what, I can't remember what official or somebody on the news said.
I need a
You know, if you're young and healthy, these people get the virus and they get sick, whatever, and then after that they're fine. But you got to think of grandma, you got to think of grandpa, you got to think of little kids who might have asthma or something like that. So they keep grandma's going to stay home, but you're going to go check on grandma. But you've been out touching everybody's everything. So, you know, if you can stay home, I recommend staying home.
Yep.
It's not, for Americans, we're not used to that, but
We don't like people telling us what to do.
no,
We're
we
very
don't.
good at it.
We don't. We're not Europeans.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how we are. But it's time to start thinking a little bit differently. Somebody, and of course, everybody's afraid. This is the apocalypse. This is it. This is going to start a new world order, and you know,
Take
tanks
over,
in the
yeah.
streets and bodies laying everywhere. And I don't think that that's it. I just think it makes sense to sort of pay attention to what's going on.
Well, here's my take on it. I think that what he said, what the Surgeon General said is right. You're going to see an uptick in numbers. But I think it has more to do with the fact that they weren't reporting everything or testing people, and now the testing is finally coming out, and you're going to see, but you are going to see an uptick in numbers, just like you do when these things happen. I'm not saying I think this is more severe of a virus than others. I think that's probably true, and for some people it's going to be very severe.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be very severe. So I get the you know, the urgency to talk about it, to deal with it, to make people think, and if anything, being more cleanly and making sure you wash your hands.
I put on, my wife sent me with a box of gloves.
Yep.
Medical gloves. I put them on when I put makeup and I put them on when I went in Walmart. You know, I don't have a mask to wear, but I put the gloves on so that everything I touched, you know, I'm clean. So I go back out and stand, pull the gloves off, throw them away. That way I don't have to, I minimize it. Did I touch something? Possibly. But I minimize the danger. I minimized it. And I think that's probably the smart thing to do.
Yeah, and I think your groups that are very apt to get this, if you're walking around unhealthy, you know, not by your own accord or anything, but you're just sick, you know, you've got infirmities and things, then I think that you should really be the ones to take extreme precautions about limiting your space with others and all that kind of stuff. But also those that are older, I think you should, in any type of season like this, especially when it's bad, you should be careful. You should be careful. You know, and so, I'll tell you what though, I know some old folks that, man, my dad's ornery. I mean, he just is.
Come on, give it to me.
He's just
bring it on.
He's just like, this is the 80-year-old man was in the store the other day, and he's just like, I'm supposed to be 6 feet away from you, and he's just laughing his head off, you know.
How old is your dad?
My dad, he's 76.
He ought to run for president. He's 4 years younger than Joe Biden. He's 4 years younger than Bernie Sanders.
Bernie!
And Joe Biden can't think a straight sentence.
There's no way that guy's getting elected.
There's no way he's getting elected, but
Yeah.
he can't. I mean, they have him reading all his speeches. Did you see Biden when he was doing his live podcast, his live stream? They had him in front of a background. He's got an iPhone up to his mouth like this. He's talking it, out of the side of his head, and then he wanders off camera. He's like half on camera, half off camera, and finally, whoever's running the cameras just took him off camera and put a graphic up, Joe Biden for president, whatever, because he doesn't think. We need somebody who thinks for a living.
Yes.
Instead of somebody
and someone that doesn't like
the economy,
and somebody that doesn't like hugging and touching girls all the time.
Little girl.
All the time.
Look up Joe Biden touching little girls.
It's weird, man.
The guy is nasty, dirty, old man. I've watched him in videos, not just pictures, videos, where families will want to take a picture with him. He'll reach over and grab the girl.
Little girls, yeah.
And drag them over right in front of him. And he's got like one girl in front of him, and he's just like massaging her head. And I'm going, you pervert.
It's weird.
You are.
Who does that?
He goes, there's got to be flight logs to him and Epstein Island. Gotta be.
Could be. Anyway. Could be. Anyway, look, there's going to be a lot of rabbit trails today. I'm sure of that. Creepy Uncle Joe. Yeah, that's right. He's creepy. Anyway, dude's a weirdo. But anyway, I'll say this before we get started on our topic here, that Trump did say today, which I thought was interesting. He said today, we got to make sure that the cure for this is not worse than the actual disease. And what he meant by that was he said, I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep the economy off the books, like this.
Yeah.
That we got to get healthy people are going to have to sooner or later get back to work and start moving. So I don't think this is something that he likes in that sense, like he wants to keep doing this. I understand all the conspiracy stuff, and I get it, and I talk about some of those, but I'll tell you, at the end of the day, if somebody out there tells you they know what's going on, and they got it all figured out 100%, and this is it, and Trump's the Antichrist, and Obama was supposed to be too, and so was Bill Clinton, who was just a pervert.
And Ronald Reagan was.
And Ronald Reagan, yeah.
Richard Nixon, and
right.
Who was the guy that Secretary of State under Nixon, the Jewish guy?
I forget. That's before my time.
Yeah, but he's still around. The guy that came out in 08, New York Stock Exchange.
Not Kissinger, is it?
Henry Kissinger.
Oh, that guy. You know what I think about his voice?
People were saying he's a Syrian-born Jew, so therefore he's the Antichrist.
I don't think so.
You don't have 7 heads.
And every time you hear him talk, I just think he's like, oh, you eat babies. That's what I think about that guy. That's what he sounds like he really does eat babies. Anyway, that's just my... I'm telling you, the guy is creepy. I'm telling you. He's creepy. He's creepy, man. He just is. Alright, anyway. Alright. So, Trump is smart. Yeah, he is smart. I think he is. I think he knows how to play people, too, which makes him even smarter. But that's another story for another day. You all know how I feel about that. I didn't vote for him, so, but...
Okay, well, let me bring this up, okay? And I'll just run this by you. Have you heard of Q?
I have. Now,
okay.
Is this what we were going to talk about?
Well,
okay.
we'll spend a few minutes.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
No, I'm fine with it.
Because you brought up Trump, here is, I've heard about it. I had a guy that is a friend of mine. We were at a meeting, and and so he explained a little bit about it, and I didn't look at all at anything Q. Hey, well, let me bring this up, okay? And I'll just run this by you. Have you heard of Q?
I have. Now,
okay.
Is this what we were going to talk about?
Well,
okay.
we'll spend a few minutes.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
No, I'm fine with it.
Because you brought up Trump, here is, I'd heard about it. I had a guy that is a friend of mine. We were at a meeting, and he said, have you heard of Q? No? And so he explained a little bit about it, and I didn't look at all at anything Q related until last, I think, November, October, somewhere around in there. And think sometime at the time Trump said he's running for president, or maybe even before, there were some top generals, and again, this is the rumor, there were some top generals and some NSA guys, patriots, good guys, love their country, don't want anything to do with the UN, New World Order, it's America first. They've been monitoring the Obamas, the Bidens, the Clintons, the Pelosi's, the Bushes. So it goes both ways, Republican and Democrat. They've been monitoring these people, knowing, I mean, it's no secret, Hillary Clinton was selling United States foreign policy and money from the United States Treasury. She would go to Syria or make a phone call to Syria and say, hey, we'll privately back you, we'll send you $1 billion loan that you'll never have to pay back, but you kick back $15 million to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation is a slush fund.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows this.
Oh yeah.
Because they launder the money, they dip into it however they want to. This is how the Clintons became multi-millionaires off of a politician's salary, really? Okay? So did the Obamas, so did the Bidens. They're hooked in with Ukraine and Burisma, no doubt about that. Pelosi is as well. So is Mitt Romney. Okay, that's why he turned and voted against Trump in the
He's connected to that.
Yeah. Connected to Burisma. Yep. So anyway, these guys, these military guys, they hated Obama because Obama was anti-military and he was destroying our military. These guys, because the word was, when Trump gets in office, he's going to start a war immediately. These guys went to Trump when he became president, and they said, we don't know if this is true. You know, they're saying you're going to start a war. We're begging you, don't start a war now. We don't have ammunition. We don't have what it takes to start a war right now because the last guy depleted our military. So supposedly Q is a guy with, there is a Q clearance in the government. It's a top secret security clearance called a Q clearance. And supposedly that's what it's based on. But these guys at some point went to Trump and said, we think we can trust you. We want to know if you're pro-America, if you're going to do what you said you're going to do. If you said you're going to drain the swamp, we think we know how to do it. Because we've got all the phone records, everything Obama did, Bush did, Clinton's did, we've got you got to understand, we've known that the NSA, which stands for No Such Agency, because nobody knew about them for years.
I like that.
Throughout, we've known this for the last
That is hilarious.
They've been, since at least, they've been collecting data.
Or NASA need another 7 astronauts.
Text messages, emails, web browsing, flight records. They collect massive amounts of data. Okay? And where's Americans going? We don't like this. We don't like this. But what if they focus on what the bad guys are doing? Okay? So anyway, Q started. I don't know anything about anonymous postings. I don't know anything about that. But apparently there was a thing called 4chan where you could go and make these anonymous posts. And Q started posting things about what was going to happen. There's my car. There's Scooter, my son. Yay! I would hit the button where everybody's going.
I don't have that button. I decoy no sound effects.
And yes, I eat poison. Okay, that's enough. So anyway,
look, you said you told him to bring the whole store full, so
Q has been posting things since the 90s? Since 2017, somebody named Q, that's their online identity, just the letter Q,
Avatar.
has been posting these drops, and what it is, it's little messages informing people, whoever will read it, that they have the they've got multiple pictures of Epstein Island. They've got, and they said, here's one of the things Q said in their drops. These people are stupid. They took their phones with them to Epstein Island. So here's this. We've known now that the NSA has the ability
Oh shoot! I don't even need to do that one.
tap into anybody's cell phone, turn the camera and microphone, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Forever.
so you're a creepy deep state pervert hooked in with Jeffrey Epstein. You go to Epstein Island. You took your phone with you. You go into one of these rooms with this 16-year-old girl,
Right.
and you lay your phone down next to the bed.
Mm-hmm.
You knows what you did. Everything you said there. Okay? Now, here's this I believe, because the reporter, I watched a podcast with the reporter that broke this story.
Wow.
There's a reporter in Phoenix, Arizona that got a tip from an inside the government source. He said, I trust this source. With you. You go into one of these rooms with this 16-year-old girl,
Right.
and you lay your phone down next to the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Q knows what you did.
Right.
And everything you said there. Okay? Now, here's this I believe. Because the reporter, I watched a podcast with the reporter that wrote this story.
Wow.
The reporter in Phoenix, Arizona that got a tip from an inside the government source. He said, I trust this source. That told him that a secret meeting took place
fucking
between
idiot.
Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch on the tarmac.
I remember that.
Remember that?
I remember that meeting.
Okay.
That caused a lot of controversy.
Where did this reporter get his information from? He got it from somebody inside who knew what happened on that plane. Because, here's the story. Because Bill Clinton is waiting in a limo. Loretta Lynch had just landed in Phoenix with her staff and her husband. The staff gets off the plane. She stands up, she's got her purse in her hand, her husband's standing next to her. They get up from their seats. All of a sudden, Bill Clinton gets out of his limo, walks on that plane, and sits down in a seat.
While his wife is under investigation.
Bingo. The wife that just came out, 33,000 emails are missing, right? So,
33,000.
33,000 emails, right? That's a number. So anyway, Clinton just sits there. Loretta Lynch, you want him to see how much Linda put this in the scissors. Anyway, I like it sweet, but I can't handle the sugar. So anyway, Clinton sits down, does a teleconference, video conference with his phone with Hillary on the other end of it. The NSA recorded every second of that meeting. Wow. Now, here's what was said, because Q released this in a sort of a so-and-so way. In other words, didn't come right out and say it, but this is what he was getting at. That Loretta Lynch was the one human being on the planet that would have investigated Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, which is against the law, and what was in those 33,000 missing emails. What was in those emails was every dirty deal that Hillary Clinton made with enemies of the United States of America, exchanging American cash, like the pallets of money that went to Iran.
Yeah.
American cash with a kickback to the Clinton Foundation. They're now filthy rich. They got millions of dollars in this foundation. So anyway, Clinton says, you know, what if a certain seat on the Supreme Court ends up just becoming vacant here before too long? That was before Scalia died.
Yeah, perfectly in his sleep at his
in
ranch.
one of the few places in the country where they don't automatically do an autopsy on somebody who dies of natural causes. If he'd have died in D.C., what would they have done?
Oh, an autopsy right away.
He's in one of the few places in America where they don't automatically do an autopsy on a dead body. Okay? So they say to Lynch, we're offering you a Supreme Court seat. Hillary's gonna win the election. You're gonna get on the Supreme Court, and what you're not gonna do is investigate this. Okay?
Wow.
Then they get off the plane. Then an anonymous tip comes in. Well, it's not anonymous to us. The reporter knows, but he's not going to name it. The reporter knows who it was. It's a trusted source inside the government, he said. So anyway, he comes out with this story. Nobody, see,
Oh, you know it this way.
why does Clinton meet Lynch on a tarmac?
I should have done that.
Because that's a secure area. Who can go out there? Reporters can't go out.
Only
nobody
security.
Exactly.
Government security.
Okay, so that's why he
you
did
know
it that way, so he wouldn't get caught. It wasn't supposed to be known that he was going to meet her because nobody was supposed to know about it. Nobody could have seen it. Okay, so then a reporter comes out. This guy said, they asked him, "Have you had death threats?" He said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "I've had multiple death threats." This reporter did because he knows too much. Okay, so the bottom line is Q is saying, and has been saying all this time, that at some point there is going to be an operation take place. And some of these deep state people are going to be arrested. You know, Obama, when he, at his first inauguration, after he gave his speech, went right in to the White House, sat down at a desk, and signed a piece of paper saying, "I'm going to tear down Guantanamo Bay," the prison that they had down there for terrorists.
Yep.
Okay, it's the first thing he did. I watched it. Okay, I remember that day. Trump spent $100 million to build it back up. If you look at it before and after picture, you can clearly see the difference. Okay, now I don't know. Again, I don't know how true any of that is, but it makes a very compelling story because let's say that, and there's a lot of pictures that Q has released where he has been within the direct vicinity of President of the United States. Took a picture. There's a picture that Q released of the back of President Trump as he's getting off Marine One, and the picture was taken from inside Marine One.
So he's somebody that's close to
That's the working. That's called a Q proof. Look up Q proof, and you'll see things like that. Now, that makes, if all of this is true, you would think that the deep state then would try to get rid of the President of the United States. What's been happening since Donald Trump, before Donald Trump took office?
Well, they called for his impeachment before he even was inaugurated.
They did worse than that. They bought Trump Towers.
Yeah, he said Obama. Oh, he said I remember watching it. It's always somebody that's close to the somebody.
That's the working. That's called a Q proof. Look up Q proof, and you'll see things like that. Now, that makes, if all of this is true, you would think that the deep state would try to get rid of the President of the United States. What's been happening since Donald Trump, before Donald Trump took office?
Well, they called for his impeachment before he even was inaugurated.
They did worse than that. They bugged Trump Towers.
Yeah, he said Obama. Oh, he said I remember.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna check something real quick. I'll be right back. Getting back, y'all.
I remember watching that. He goes, Obama
before Donald Trump took office.
Well, they called for his impeachment before he even was inaugurated.
They did worse than that. They bugged Trump Towers.
Yeah, he said Obama. Oh, he said I remember watching that. He goes, Obama tapped my wires. That's what he said.
You know who told him that?
Yeah.
Q.
Oh, is that who told him? I didn't know that.
I mean, he said, and one of the things that Q said was, look at the dates. Trump finds out his office is tapped. He moves out the next day. I said, look at the dates.
He moved out the next day.
He moved out the next day. Because here's what happened. According to Q, and there's some other sources that can back this up. You can look this up. Obama used James Comey, director of the FBI, and a couple other guys that have been named in this to go to the FISA court. FISA court is a secret court to subpoena phone records or wiretaps on an elected official. Okay, it has to be secret because if they find out about it, then that blows the cover. So what they did was, and they're being caught in this. This is a known thing that we know that they lied to the FISA court.
Oh yeah,
because they were saying that Trump was being
and the head of the CIA did. It was Comey and the head of the CIA that lied about that.
Okay, so what's Trump done since he's gotten to be president? He has replaced top people at the FBI. In some cases, he had to let them show themselves whose side they were on.
It was like a. See, I always thought that there was something because, I'm skeptical of all politicians anyway.
Yeah,
but I did think
you should be.
But when I looked at it, I said, there's something up with this though. There has to be because there's no way in the world like this president. I've never seen one under siege so much in my life.
Exactly.
Where he's not even allowed to be the man. He does because he runs his mouth anyway. But when you look at it, all those other guys, they were allowed to be the man. They were just no, this is done, it's over, and everybody was like, okay, it's over. He's the only guy that's come in where they'd be like, no, it's not over.
It's not just hatred; it's fear.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
think, okay, have they tried to assassinate him? Look this up. Just off the coast of Washington State, missile fired at Air Force One. There's a picture of it on the internet. Look it up.
Right, but what about also all these weird Chinese nationals that sneak into Mar-a-Lago or whatever it's called, and they're over there. Then all of a sudden they find out they're spies.
Yeah.
Then you have these Chinese people that are coming onto these bases,
Yeah.
and they're walking on the base oh, I didn't know what I was doing. I was lost.
Oh, on top of that, and this I know for a fact. The first time I ever bought security cameras. I bought a few cameras. We put them up, and then I had them linked to a computer because I had a program that would capture the cameras, record any action on it, and I'd have it on a computer. And I noticed that because we had a router that kept logs, and every now and then I'd look at the logs of the router, and I kept noticing that about every 30 seconds or so, something was going out to the same website. It was an IP address.
Yes.
So I typed in the IP address to find out who owned it, and it was a company in China owned by the Chinese government. So what I knew then was that the images from that camera was going to a place off-site in China somewhere. They were recording what was going on in our church. Then, a few years later, it's announced that the government has bought thousands of these cameras, all made in China, all with this software embedded in it, and they installed them in military installations so the Chinese government could spy on the American. So China is linked with this.
Right.
Okay, because, and let me go back to Bill Clinton. I remember distinctly when Bill Clinton became president, he had the EPA issue an order that said only a certain type of clean burning coal can be used from now on in America because we're protecting the environment.
Yeah.
There was 2 places in the world where that type of coal could be found. One place was in the United States of America. The other place was in China. It just so happened that the place where that coal was in the United States was considered a wildlife area and could not be touched. So that forced us to buy coal from guess who? China. And Bill Clinton, it was, I mean, Rush Limbaugh
Bill Clinton sold the rights to
Do you see Rush
some
Limbaugh?
missile defense.
could not be touched. So that forced us to buy coal from guess who? China. And Bill Clinton, it was, I mean, Rush Limbaugh.
Bill Clinton sold the rights to some missile defense or something.
Considered a wildlife area and could not be touched. So that forced us to buy coal from guess who? And Bill Clinton, it was, I mean, Rush Limbaugh.
Bill Clinton sold the rights to some missile defense or something system, didn't he?
He sold a base in San Francisco to the Chinese.
Yeah, and that's why the Chinese really wanted Hillary Clinton to win that election.
Absolutely. Listen, the Clintons have been in bed with the Chinese since before Bill Clinton was president, because Rush Limbaugh used to tease it all the time about
Chi-coms.
Yeah, Chi-com. So China has been Harry Reid, Nevada. That whole thing about the cattle in Nevada and that rancher out there.
Oh yeah, those ranchers.
I'm not moving my cattle. That was Harry Reid who had promised the Chinese that they would get mineral rights to that land.
Yeah, and they fought him.
Yeah,
those cattle guys fought him.
Absolutely.
So they won.
So think about it. But some things don't make sense, and some things do.
Right.
Epstein did not hang himself, and his lawyer, Epstein's lawyer, when Epstein got arrested, Epstein's lawyer released a letter saying, "My client is a dead man."
I remember that. I watched that.
Okay, my client.
I don't think anybody believes that Epstein killed himself. I don't think there's anybody in the world that believes that. But he might not even be dead either. That's another thing.
The night that he got beat up, that was
I knew he was dead.
That was a hit, and all of a sudden, all the power went off of Lower Manhattan, where the jail was, mysteriously at the exact same time. And
I think I remember that.
Said, asked the question, why did the power go off at the exact same night that
and the cameras fail.
Right.
And both cameras fail.
So here's the thing about Q. I don't know. I can't say this, but Q is saying that at some point, and there's even been an examination into United States law on whether or not some of these people can be tried under military tribunals instead of. Now here's let me get back to Trump. He's been replacing FBI people, CIA people, and over 200 federal judges. If the case ever went to a federal court, if it was an Obama judge, throw it out. But now it's one of Trump's judges. So he's been replacing federal judges.
Oh yeah, more than any president ever.
Exactly. So Q says that's for a reason. Okay? So what has the theory is that at some point there's going to be an operation and that they're going to make an arrest. And Q says that the first arrest that they make will absolutely shock the entire world.
That I want to know.
But he's not saying who, and he's not saying when it's going to take place. Okay? So that's Q in a nutshell. Believe it or not, I don't know.
How long has he been around, that Q?
Q's been dropping posts since 2017. Okay? Since after, in fact, Q released something. There's somebody that Trump hired in a certain position, national security advisor or something like that, and the day after, these Q posts start coming out, and Q said,
I like that.
connect the dots. So, it does seem to be somebody that at least knows a way around. And they're telling us the president's going to be safe. He's backed by these generals. He's backed by the military lobby. Military guys, he goes over there all the time.
Oh yeah, they do.
They love it, and they got it. And they said there's pictures that Q will release of Army guys in fatigues down there. And he sent out pictures of Q people around the world. South Korea, India. There was a guy holding up a sign saying, I'm with Q or whatever. And so it's a lot of people. We're talking billions of people in America and around the world who have been watching the Q drops, the Q codes, to see what's going on. And they're the ones telling people, look, this virus going on. What if this is the basis for what Trump's going to do? What if getting everybody to stay home and having National Guard out on the streets? Don't be alarmed at that, is what Q is saying. Don't be alarmed at that, because we need this in place so we can do
X, Y, and Z.
X needs to be in place so we can do Y and Z. In other words, so that's all I know about Q.
That's interesting.
Now, I can't tell you that that's true. I can't tell you it's not true. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting, that's for sure.
It's going to make a good movie one of these days.
Well, I've never heard of it before. I mean, I've heard about Q, but I've never really explored it. I never looked into it because I was like, yeah, okay, well, whatever.
Look up pictures. Go to Google, type in missile fired Air Force One, Washington State.
Wow.
And because something happened, and a bunch of people, it came out in the newspapers. What happened? Off the coast of so and so, and there's a close-up of it. It's a missile. It's a missile.
Wow.
Okay, allegedly fired at Air Force.
And you definitely have China that's really ticked too, because they've lost a lot of money.
Shouldn't have.
Because they were manipulating our currency for such a long time and doing all the stuff they were doing. So that's kind of interesting. We'll switch gears here.
All right.
Let's see here. All right.
I'll hold this up.
If you email it to him,
he can Google it.
Oh, there it is.
This was 1971. One of our subs surfaced.
I'll be right back.
Okay, one of our subs surfaced because it had an air contact, and they caught on camera this UFO coming up out of the water, and they took snapshots of it. Okay, you can Google that. What I did was Googled, what did I Google? U.S. submarine photo UFO. And it's on a bunch of places. There's an article, express.co.uk. UFO photos taken from U.S. submarine in 71 prove the existence of aliens. Photographs revealing bizarre UFOs claimed to have been taken by U.S. Navy submarine crew have been hailed as the best ever evidence of extraterrestrial visits to the Earth. Because, a lot of people are saying that they didn't see the UFO come down from the sky.
Guys, give me a second.
They saw it come up like out of a mountain, or out of a lake, or out of the ocean. So the article says specialist researchers of UFOs believe the black and white images supposedly taken from the USS Trepang, Trepang, SSN 674 is the sub number, in March 1971 are evidence of secret U.S. aircraft tests or alien life forms looking to carry out an early form of fracking. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but Alex Mistretta, paranormal investigator and author, investigated the images after they first appeared in French paranormal magazine Top Secret following an alleged leak. He claimed insiders told him the pictures were taken from the U.S. submarine on its journey between Iceland and Norway's Jan Mayen Island in the Atlantic Ocean, with the admiral on board at the time said to be Dean Reynolds. We'll show some of the pictures. So, I went to a church, good people, love the Lord, love the Bible. And I understand that I've been reading UFO books since I was in 6th grade. And somebody recently, they said they were at a used bookstore and they saw a book on UFOs. They bought it and sent it to me. And when I got the book, I opened it up. I was looking at the pictures and I'm going, this is a book I had when I was in junior high. It's in one of the school libraries. I recognized the pictures in it. So I've been reading books on UFOs, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Yetis, Sasquatch, haunted houses, any kind of mystery that there was.
I'm like, what?
That's always been a fascination of mine. And so when in 1997, when God laid it on my heart to study the Bible, looking at Bible prophecy, one of the first thoughts I had in my mind was, hey, I'll do something on UFOs. Well, I didn't.
Oh, you did not.
Do anything on UFOs. Didn't talk about it. I put out a video several years ago called UFOs, Chariots of the Beast. And it was just a one-time, it was like an hour, 25-minute long video. And I basically looked at Ezekiel 1, and I said that in Ezekiel 1 is a companion to Revelation 4. It's like two eyes looking at the same thing, but from different directions. Ezekiel says that one of the faces looked like an ox, but Revelation says it was a calf. Okay? I don't see a discrepancy. Calf is an ox.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so what difference does it make? But anyway, it's two ways. It's the Old and New Testament looking at the same thing.
I like that.
And I noted that Ezekiel called them living creatures. Revelation 4 called them beasts. So what I did was I connected them together. And this actually didn't come to me until I'm recording it. It's one of those things that God said, Mike, connect the dots. So as I was talking, I actually had to stop and I edited it out because I'm going, wow. And then I started talking again and I said, did you catch that? Where it says the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. So these wheels are round like saucers, like discs. And then I said, Revelation 4 doesn't call them living creatures, it calls them beasts. So I said, let's put those two together. The spirit of the beast is in the wheels. Dun dun dun. Yeah, that's the connection. So that's why I titled it Chariots of the Beast. And I talked about Von Daniken's book. I said that in Ezekiel 1 is a companion to Revelation 4.
I had to rewind for a little bit.
Two eyes looking at the same
Rewind a
thing,
little bit.
different directions. Ezekiel says that one of the faces looked like an ox, but Revelation says it was a calf. Okay? I don't see a discrepancy. Calf is an ox.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so what difference does it make? But anyway, it's two
Calf
ways,
is the
it's
beginning,
Old and New Testament looking at the
baby
same
version. That's symbolic or something.
And I noted
I know I
that
said that yesterday, but
Ezekiel called them living creatures.
I believe it.
Revelation 4 called them beasts. So what I did was I connected them together. And this actually didn't come to me until I'm recording it. It's one of those things that God said, Mike, connect the dots. So as I was talking, I actually had to stop and I edited it out because I'm going, wow. And then I started talking again and I said, did you catch that? Where it says the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. So these wheels are round like saucers, like discs. And then I said, Revelation 4 doesn't call them living creatures, it calls them beasts. So I said, let's put those two together. The spirit of the beast is in the wheels. Dun dun dun. Yeah, and that's the connection. So that's why I titled it Chariots of the Beast. And I talked about Von Daniken's book, Chariot of the Gods. He was partially right. Because what Von Daniken did was he looked at, he's the whole guy that started the whole ancient aliens thing. Because he writes.
He's the astronaut theory, or is that different? It's
the ancient astronaut theory?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Von Daniken. Von Daniken wrote his book back in the late 60s. And it took him years to find somebody to publish it.
Nobody wanted to touch it.
Nobody wanted to touch it. Because they thought it was nuts. But what he did was he looked at all these old paintings, all these old carvings, all these old statues, And he said, looks like they're in a spacesuit, or it looks like they're in a spaceship. And I remember reading Chariot of the Gods when I was in high school, reading all these UFO books. Von Daniken is looking at Ezekiel 1 and saying it's not God, even though you believe in God, it's not God, it's these extraterrestrials. And he said, this is their flying ship. So I'm a young Christian man, and I'm going, he's wrong, But I never forgot about the idea. So I did this one video back years ago, didn't touch it until, again, last year. It just seemed like, because I knew that the Pentagon had released the three, what's called the three videos. The Tic Tac, the Go Fast, and the Gimbal UFO. And what they are, starting in 2004, and it goes through like 2014, we have the most sophisticated video surveillance cameras with high def, with forward-looking infrared, with everything you can think of on the front of our jets. I mean, these jets are $1 billion if they're anything. And we have the best trained men and women in the world flying them. Okay? So some of these scientists, egghead scientists, saying this is obviously misidentification or there's something wrong with the equipment. Right. If there's something wrong with our equipment and these guys are protecting our borders,
we're in a lot of trouble.
We're nuts. So that's just an argument for these guys to say we don't believe in UFOs, we don't take it seriously, and you people are stupid. That's basically their scientific answer. But anyway, it was Tom DeLonge, Blink 182 Rock, who is a Freemason. He has a square and compass on his guitar now. Wow. Okay, so he's an admitted Freemason. And Freemasonry, what is Freemasonry about? Freemasonry is about the joining of heaven and earth. Every symbol in Freemasonry, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's their handshake, the way they cross their legs when they post their picture, their aprons. Everything in Masonry is about joining heaven and earth together. Everything is. You read Manly Hall, you read Albert Pike, and Albert Pike says, this is heaven and this is the earth. And this symbol here, this is the heavens and this is the earth. And they're joined together. So then that takes you to Daniel chapter 2. They, which is 4, principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. So last year, the people at Fargo, everything is. You read Manly Hall, you read Albert Pike, and Albert Pike says, this is heaven, and this is the earth, and this symbol here,
Ephesians
this is the heavens, and this is the earth, and they're joined together. So then that takes you to Daniel chapter 2. They, which is 4, principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. So last year, the people at Fargo, the Red Rivers Prophecy Conference, wanted me to submit what I was talking about. And I never know. So I'm just going, okay, UFOs and cryptid creatures. So last year, the people at Fargo, the Red Rivers Prophecy Conference, wanted me to submit what I was talking about. And I never know. So I'm just going, okay, UFOs and cryptid creatures. So then I'm going, well, let's see, I'm supposed to talk about this. I better do the research. So I started doing the research. A guy sent me a thumb drive that had over 650 UFO books in PDF and ebook. So I've got that collection. I've collected a bunch of my own. I bought some from Amazon.
See what this one will
downloaded them anyway. So I've got all these books, and I'm doing. I like them in PDF form because you can search.
Yeah, it's easier.
You can search and look for keywords and so on.
Studying is a lot easier.
Yeah, instead of reading a whole 680-page book.
Yeah, skim it.
Yeah, I can skim through it, find what I want. But in looking at all of these, including Colonel Philip Corso's book, The Day After, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
outside of the Word of God, obviously, what extra biblical source? Because I know how you work. I mean, I've been around you long enough to know that if you don't see it in the Bible, then you're not going to deal with it. I know that not just because you say it, but I know it because I've known you for a while. So it's what you hold to. It's your so that's why when I hear you talk about something like this, I know you're being serious about it, and it's something that you've thought about a lot. And because I know there's things that you won't touch yourself, and you kind of back away from it if you're not 100% sure what you're moving forward with, because it makes you nervous, even to the point you don't want to lead people astray in that sense. So I believe that.
Exactly.
So what extra biblical source do you think has been the most influential, where you were like, how in the world did they gather that much information? Or in the sense of, wow, I picked up a lot on this that I never considered. I see it in the scriptures, but this guy, he's not saved. How did he figure this out? It had to be the devil that showed him. Was there some source, one of those books?
There's a few of them. I couldn't say it's just one. Those that have listened to me over the years know that I reference Manly Hall's book, Secret Teachings of All Ages. And I have some other books by Manly Hall, but Secret Teachings of All Ages is like an encyclopedia of the occult. And by the occult, I don't necessarily mean Satan worship. Like, I don't read books by Aleister Crowley and Eliphas Levi. I just don't. Those were bad guys. Those were evil guys. But Manly Hall was a guy, and he's got a huge library, which is still open. It's open, I think, to the public. But he had an endowment. He had some rich person give him tons of money and says, "Go do
She won't give me that.
and tell me what it is, and I'll pay you." So he amassed this huge library, and he read all these books, and he gave all these speeches. But when he wrote Secret Teachings, it's about this thick. You can get a PDF of it. But what he did was he digested all that he read. It's like taking all these books here, reading every one of them, and then writing down what's in a short, the Cliff Note version. So that's what he did.
He's like an encyclopedia on that.
Exactly.
He amassed all of it together into an encyclopedia.
He tells you, in essence, what the symbols, what the ancient religions were all about. He said at the beginning, all of these religions basically were the same. They had different names for their gods, different names for their goddess, and in some cases different rituals. But the fact that they all had rituals that were similar, because if you take it, boil it down like a good stew, then all the flavors melt together and you get a picture. And he said, basically, there's one great big gigantic secret. So I used Secret Teachings of All Ages. I've read Morals and Dogma once. I read it through once. Every now and then I'll reference it.
Did he reference anything in that concerning aliens or anything like that?
They didn't use the word, none of them, neither Pike nor Hall, because they were pre-47. 1947 is the year. Okay, after that, boom, aliens. Okay, but probably died in 47. But he met Lamb just before that. Okay, and then Crowley dies, so he's got two disciples. Jack Parsons.
Yep, that's him. The propulsion.
Yeah,
missile guy.
Jack Propulsion Lab. The best rocket scientist other than Von Braun
was from Disney.
Yeah, and then L. Ron Hubbard.
That's it. Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons got together, and they wanted Lamb, but they also wanted a goddess to come out called Bab-Allah. Yeah. Okay, and they got her. Okay, they got in touch with her. So anyway, which is like what Stephen Wilson. Anyway, yes. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so guys, I gotta answer the question.
Yep.
Shut up over there. Anyway, all right. So anyway, Secret Teachings of All Ages. You can go to any bookstore, probably find a copy of it. And then Philip Corso, because he is a colonel in the United States Marine. So, anyway, you can look at some interviews that he did on camera before he died. And Corso said that he was at one time stationed at Roswell, and he was told that there were some caves not too far from the base where there's some weird stuff going on. So he goes out, takes a jeep, goes out to investigate. And he said, and this is in that book, he said that he sees this 3-foot tall, gray, big-eyed, big-head thing. And he said the entity is communicating mentally, telepathically.
Because you have a theory that they don't move their mouth, like they don't have lips or whatever to talk with, or a voice box.
That's what people have said. People that have met them, or there's another guy, Richard Doty, who has an hour and a half long talk with Stephen Greer, because Doty was briefed. He worked at Kirtland Air Force Base, and Doty was briefed on the whole military interaction with UFOs and aliens since before 47. He was shown a film. He was shown films of the wreckage. He was shown films of the autopsy. He was shown films of various craft that the military has taken in, and he's telling all this. Okay, some of it he says I can't talk about. It's hush hush, top security. Even now, I can't talk about. But some things I will talk about. But anyway, Corso goes out there and he meets this gray alien, and the alien is telling him what they suspected, that at Roswell Air Base was the only 1947 the only place in the world where atomic bombs were stored, because that's where they flew out of, was Roswell. They were tested just outside of Roswell, Trinity site, and then the Roswell Air Base had them. And the theory was that because they had a very sophisticated,
it's a long way. So anyway, on the other side of those mountains, they're not that far away, but they're a pretty good distance out. I think that's about it's like 9,000 feet. And I had to go over a small mountain to get to this one and then drop down. And I just got down here, and now this is just going to go all the way down through this whole twist mountain. I should be in the narrow part of the canyon. It gets... I'm not going up there. There's caves. There's actually caves all over the place up here. The desert. And I'm not supposed to mess with him, so I'm not going to touch him. But I will get over there and get close to him. And this is the mountain range I'm walking around right now. Vegas is out that way. There's Mount Charleston. It's got a nice cool breeze going. If I wasn't hiking, I wouldn't be hot. And that is it. So see you later, tortoise.
Where's the cave? Found? Kenny Beach. Wow. Was there a secret hidden door to Area 51 in this cave?
It's like a letter behind me here, like right there. The guy who kind of alerted me to this location, his name's Don, and he's in the military, and he was searching for this himself, and the last couple of years, but he had an accident and was no longer able to get out like he used to, so he came across my... So, one's got some kind of notch. This bottle. Here it is. Okay, I gotta get out of here. I don't see any other openings here. A lot of big cracks in the rock, but nothing that would indicate a door.
Where's the cave at? Get found. In the sheep mountain here with Las Vegas. Hold on, guys.
Radar network set up around Roswell Air Base that was somehow interfering with the aliens' technology on their ships, causing a crash. So Corso is getting communicated by this alien, and the alien's telling him,
just south of the boundaries of Nellis Air Force Base.
For 15 minutes and we'll leave, because they were stuck there.
South of the boundaries
said,
of the Nellis Air Force Base.
What's in it for me? In other words, what are you going to give me? I've got you stuck here. I want something out of it. And Corso said the alien said to him, a new world, if you'll have it.
No.
Yeah. So Corso wrote a book. It's in manuscript form. You can find it on the internet, called The Dawning of a New Age by Philip Corso. It's a free. Go find it. Go read it.
So, okay. They're saying that Corso is saying that those great aliens operate those saucers.
Yeah.
That's what he believed, that those...
And including, Corso said it, Bob Lazar said it. Bob Lazar was a young guy who's all of a sudden his entire life's history disappeared from off the planet because he worked at S4. And understand, we all say Area 51 like a joke. But it's because of Bob Lazar. We're talking 1987, 88 when he did this. He's working at Area 51 and a place away from there, off of Groom Lake by Papoose Lake, area called S4. Nobody knew about S4 in 1987 or 1988, whenever he did this. Nobody did. Hush, hush, hush. Super top secret. So he comes out, he gets in touch with George Knapp, Las Vegas reporter. They do a live interview. He's in a TV news crew van. They've got the sun directly behind him, so his face is black. You can't see his face. And he calls himself Dennis. It turns out Dennis was his supervisor's name in S4. So he calls himself Dennis, and he says that he works at a place called Area 51, S4, where he works on captured alien craft. And of course, the news people are going, really? You know, how's it going? And he says, as far as what? And she's nervous. She's like, I don't ask this guy. Well, how's it going with back engineering? And he said, well, it's going kind of slow because there's a lot of things about it we haven't figured out. But since then, there is a documentary.
Explain back engineering quickly.
Okay, reverse engineering. Let's say a company comes out with a brand new computer or a brand new toaster, okay? And it's the best toaster ever made, and they patented the parts of the toaster, okay? So GE comes out with a toaster. Well, Samsung wants to make that same toaster. So Samsung goes to Walmart, buys a toaster, takes it to their lab, pulls the screws off to see what's in it, to see how it's made.
Right.
Find out what that chip is in there and what it does. Okay.
Gotcha.
I think you're gonna.
When Microsoft, back when they
Hold
first
on,
started,
guys.
when they released their MS-DOS, okay, they had that copyrighted. They had it patented. That's their operating system. Companies around the world wanted that operating system. They just didn't want to pay for it. They'd have to pay Bill Gates a license. That's how he got rich.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was they took the code, looked at it, figured out a different way of doing what that code did.
Right.
Because there was guys that were looking at it going, if our code shows up in your software, we're going to sue the daylights out of it.
Yep.
So that's what back engineering is. They take it, they don't know how it works, they take it apart, try to figure out how it works.
So they've got these saucers.
9 of them.
9 of these. There's 9 of them the U.S. government has possession at least that I know of, and they all crashed.
Some of them, no, not. He was debriefed. They sat him down in a room, and they didn't tell him everything. But he sat him down with a stack of papers like this tall, and they said, "Spend today and tomorrow reading these, but you're not taking them with you.
Huh?
No cameras, nothing. Eyes only. Read through these." And what he said was, it's given him the U.S. government's knowledge of extraterrestrials and UFOs that goes back thousands of years. And then, let me add this, and I have it. I have the document. The Air Force, when you took training with the Air Force to be an officer, you had to take an astronomy course. The astronomy course textbook had a chapter in it called UFOs.
Okay.
And where they were in officer training, they had a whole chapter on the United States involvement with UFOs that goes back thousands of years.
This is pretty cool.
That if you think you see one, here's how to identify it. And
So they train the Air Force on this. The officers.
They train the Air Force officers and the pilots
have to know this.
to know what to look for. Protocol. Okay. That was chapter 33 in that book. I'm not kidding you. I'll show it to you tonight. Okay.
I bet.
But anyway,
33.
once that was leaked, that was back in the 60s, early 70s. When that was leaked, they pulled it. Okay, so it's not in there anymore. But you can find a copy online. So anyway, Lazar said that one of them, they actually had...
One of the 9 ships.
One of the 9 ships they actually had working. And they would test it on Wednesday nights because they knew that the highway, this is before they bought all the extra land around Area 51 because people started getting on top of the mountain and looking down to see what they were doing. So they bought more property so there's no way you could see it. So anyway, they said that on Wednesday night, almost nobody goes down that highway, so they won't see it. So Wednesday nights at like 9:30 is when they test this thing. Lazar knew that. How did he know that? So he tells John Lear, who's a friend of his. John Lear is the son of the Lear jet guy. Okay, so he's a pilot himself. He's a CIA pilot. So he gets with Lear, takes John Lear and another guy out to outside of Area 51, and exactly 9:30 on Wednesday night, boom, they've got it on video. Okay, there's this light shining up in the sky, doing stuff that, no, it's not a plane. So once Lazar comes out, he gets shot at, but he came out openly to protect himself. And they were tapping his phone, and he knew they were tapping his phone because one of the guys, one of the supervisors he worked for, came to him and said, "We hate to tell you this, your wife's having an affair." Because they were listening to the phone calls. Because he was gone for days, then come home like a weekend, stuff like that. And so she thought, he couldn't tell her what he was doing. She thought he was running around. So she goes out, has an affair, and it just ruined it. They asked him, now that you know what you know and did what you did, are you sorry? He said, yeah. He said, I'm not a UFO guy. He said, I don't care nothing about it. But what I care about is we have technology that could solve the energy crisis. It could solve the food shortage. It could literally create a new world here. We have the ability to go anywhere we want to in the universe, and the military is keeping it secret out there. He said that ain't right
for a time, right?
Yeah. So Bob Lazar there's a documentary that Jeremy Corbell did.
So are all
Lazar that came out. He's telling the truth.
Are all 9 of those in one space? They think, or are they all?
They're
over?
in hangars that are. They're meant to look like, disguised to look like the side of the mountain. In other words, they got a sandy texture to them, and from a mile away, which is the closest you would ever get, you never know that they were there. So, but again, he's the one that introduced Area 51 to the world, because before him, nobody knew.
And what year was that?
1987 or 88, somewhere around it.
Okay, so let me ask you this, if you know anything about this. Did you mention, you didn't say Von Braun, did you?
Warner Von Braun. Yeah.
Okay, you did say his name. Okay,
Yeah.
Because that's part of Operation Paperclip.
Yes, it is.
So how does Operation Paperclip come into this? Because I'd like to know. That seems...
Okay, before...
What is Operation Paperclip?
Okay, I'll explain it. Okay. Before Roswell, 1947, in the 30s, a UFO crashed in Germany.
Okay.
Hitler because Hitler is very fascinated with the occult.
Nordic stuff.
Okay.
I'd like to know. That seems...
Okay, before...
What is Operation Paperclip?
Okay, I'll explain it in a minute.
Okay.
Before Roswell, 1947, in the 30s, a UFO crashed in Germany.
Okay.
Hitler, because Hitler is very fascinated with the occult.
Nordic stuff.
Okay. Oh yeah, Nordic especially. The Thule Society. Thule means the North Country. Ultima Thule is a mythical land that's at the North Pole. But the problem is there is no land at the North Pole. So it's not the North Pole. It's up there where God came from in Ezekiel 1.
Right.
The North is up there. Okay. So Hitler's fascinated with the occult and any advantage he can get militarily. So a ship crashes. Hitler gets it. Von Braun's one of his scientists, and a guy named I can't remember. Is it German? He's like the German Einstein. Schlauberger. Schlauberger, look that up. He was a German scientist, one of their best. And all of a sudden, Schlauberger, Von Braun, they're starting to work on things nobody had even conceived of. Okay? And it's known that Hitler was building saucer-shaped, look up the Bell, okay, their Glock, okay, which is the German word for Bell, okay, because Hitler was making disc-shaped flying craft with guns on it.
Wow.
Okay, so Von Braun and his scientists, and I have some of the quotes. You know, they asked Von Braun when he came over here, where'd you guys get all this technology? He said it was given to us. Okay? So, Hitler was that close to winning the war.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was developing the V2. He was developing the atomic bomb. He was developing a lot of stuff that would have given him, there would be no way. If Hitler had the atomic bomb, he would have bombed London and New York and Washington, D.C. without thinking about it. And that would have been the end of the world as we know it. Okay? It was, I believe, the grace of God that allowed us to break through the lines at Normandy.
It wasn't the time.
Yeah, it wasn't the time. So, but Hitler was working all these things. Where was he getting the ideas from? And they were all saying they were coming down to them. So Von Braun, Operation Paperclip was, there wasn't a CIA during World War II. It was the Office of Special Services, USS, which then turned into the CIA. But then they institute Operation Paperclip. They had to work out a deal with the Russians. Russians wanted the scientists too.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so the Russians got one group of scientists working on one thing. The Americans got all the rocket guys and atomic bomb guys. So we get them. We bring all these, and these guys are Nazis. Not Browns,
Big time.
Nazis.
Big time.
Okay, and all of a sudden we write them apart, give them a clean slate. Come over here, come down here to New Mexico, and go to work for us.
They're working at Area 51.
Yeah, so no, there's no Area 51 at that time. They're in New Mexico. At the Roswell base. They're working on the air base out there. They're working at the Trinity test site. And all of a sudden now we have an atomic bomb and we have rockets. Okay, and Von Braun, of course, he's the head of NASA, or one of their chief guys, and he's the one that's working with Jack Kennedy to get guys to the moon. Okay, now here's an interesting story about the moon that part of it I can verify, but I've heard this from about 4 different knowledgeable sources. One of them is a guy by the name of Don Wilson. If you go to Stephen Greer's YouTube channel, look for a guy named Don Wilson and listen to him. Because he was a contractor working for certain departments, because there is no such thing as the government.
Right.
It's very compartmentalized. And most of the recent presidents are not briefed on U.S. involvement with aliens or UFOs. They're not told.
Why do you suppose that is?
Carter wasn't told anything. There is a story that Richard Nixon and Jackie Gleason were buddies. Okay? And Jackie's with Nixon at the White House or somewhere down in Florida somewhere. There's a base where they had a bunch of stuff stored. And Nixon's big into UFOs, and Nixon says, "Get this." So Nixon arrives. He's president. Security goes to this Air Force base. I don't remember which one it was. And he takes Gleason into the secret area and shows him where Gleason's going. He's freaked out. Okay? Freaked out at what he sees. Okay? But after Nixon, they quit briefing presidents. Reagan supposedly knew some things. That's why he gave a speech at the UN about what if an alien force, he's done this in front of the UN, and who believes in UFOs, right? But Reagan's like, what if an alien force comes down and, attacks Earth? Wouldn't that unite us all together? Really? Okay. But they didn't tell Carter anything.
Right.
They, of course, George Bush knew. He's head of the CIA. He knows.
Now, here's the thing. I have a theory about that, too, possibly. That it's because these men that are short-term in office are only in there.
Exactly.
They're elected by the people, or at least the illusion of that they're the people's man, right? So they're not going to give anybody. It's not permanent government.
That's right.
Entrenched in the government information.
And Bush was.
Yeah.
The CIA.
His whole family is.
Yeah.
All the way back
But
to the Nazis.
Clinton wasn't.
I have my
Carter
Alex Jones
wasn't.
moment. Hold on.
Obama wasn't. Okay? So they didn't brief these guys. But Hillary, you remember Hillary when she's running.
Yeah.
And there's emails between John Podesta and, who did I say, Blink-182?
Who was a known pervert, by the way, himself, connected with all that ring.
There's emails that were part of the WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
That Podesta was in contact with people about when we get in the office, we're gonna dig up these files. Okay? So, which once that's leaked, there may be more than one reason why Hillary's not president now. Because the secret part of the government that deals with UFOs and aliens, they don't answer to Congress. They don't answer to the president. They don't answer to anybody.
Their clearance is top higher than all those people.
There's $1 trillion missing out of the Department of Defense budget. Rumsfeld himself said it. We've got $3 trillion missing. We don't know where it is. Well, it's in black operations and black projects.
Always.
That are, it's a need to know basis. And let's say you're a guard at Area 51. If that's all you are, is a guard at the gate at Area 51,
you don't know anything.
Okay? You might see things, but you're not told anything.
You don't know what it means.
Yeah, you don't know what it is. Okay? So, but here's to Stephen Greer's credit, I don't like the guy because he's a hardcore. He's making phone calls to these devils every day. Okay, he's in contact all the time. But to his credit, when he went gathering these guys up out of NASA, out of the CIA, out of the Department of Defense, out of military bases, when he goes and talks to these guys, he says, "Look, I know you signed a security contract saying that as long as you're alive, you will never talk about what's classified as top secret." But he said, "I want you to ask yourself the question. The stuff that you worked on that was related to UFOs, it's not in your security clearance. It's beyond that. And it's illegal, actually, because it's not under the direct control of the Constitution."
Right.
So he told these guys,
because Congress has oversight.
Congress has oversight. And he's telling these guys, Congress does not have oversight over what you did with these UFOs. So that means you can say this, and you can't do anything about it. So in 2001, Greer convinced about 20 of these guys to come forward who had first-hand knowledge. Okay? Some said that they, and I showed this last night, but I didn't talk about it. A guy that worked at Malmstrom Air Force Base in, I think it's in Montana or Nebraska, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got Minuteman silos there. Minuteman nuclear missiles, 16 of them. And this happened in the 60s. He's down in the control center, down 200 feet underground. He gets a phone call from Topside. Topside saying, "Boss, we got these red glowing objects up in the sky hovering around the gate." And he says, "Call me later." Click. Okay. Well, then he gets a call back saying, "They're like right over the silos."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I'm watching the control panels of these missiles. Boom, 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 one after another, they shut down." And he said, every now and then you'd have one go down, you don't have all 16 of them go down. He said, all 16 of them drop just like that. And he said, you got to understand the nature of this. If I got a phone call from the White House saying, launch codes are on the way, you're to launch all 16 of your missiles at Russia. He said, I can't launch my missiles. They're dead in the water. We had to have guys come in and reboot every one of these missiles. And he said, those things shut them down. That happened. You can look that up. You can look up.
So their technology is so advanced that it shut down the missile defense.
Richard Doty said that he investigated, because that's what he did for the military, was he was an investigator. He investigated a situation where a warhead was taken and stolen out of a missile.
Okay.
Out of a missile silo.
Wow.
Warhead was. And he said, you gotta understand, nobody gets in a nuclear missile base. Nobody does. And he said, we actually got fingerprints on that missile. And he said, not human fingerprints. Human fingerprints are whirled.
Right.
He said, these are all straight line, side to side. And he said, he actually saw a photograph of an alien that had like 4 arms. And he said, we determined, based on the placement of the hands, that's what it was. But he said they stole the warhead right out of it.
Wow.
So look up Bentwaters. That is in Rendlesham Forest in England. So we have a NATO base over there back in the 80s.
So I do some reading, you guys, so I'm going to catch you guys in the next live stream.
Most of those guys are still alive. Colonel Charles Hall, the officer in charge.
I'll probably play this a little bit later. I'm going to do some planning first.
Sometime. I don't remember the exact
Like,
year.
comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching.